The wind howled down the empty highway as Emma Clark eased her old truck onto the shoulder, snowflakes slicing through her headlights. Montana winter nights had a way of swallowing sound, but something cut through the silence, a faint, irregular rustling near the abandoned gas station. Emma stepped out, boots sinking into fresh powder, her breath clouding in the freezing air. That was when she saw it. A soggy cardboard box, trembling as if something inside was fighting for its last breath. She crouched down, brushing away the snow collecting on top. The box shuddered again. Emma hesitated only a second before peeling back the softened flaps. A gasp tore from her chest. Curled inside was a leopard cub, tiny, skeletal, its spotted coat soaked and clinging to its ribs. Frost crusted around its nose, and every breath was a strained rattle. A ragged mark around its neck looked eerily like the afterprint of a chain. Someone had owned this cub, and someone had abandoned it in a storm that could kill a grown man. "Oh, sweetheart," Emma whispered, sliding her hands beneath its freezing body. The cub barely reacted, its head lolled to the side, eyes half closed, dull with exhaustion. Its body was cold, dangerously cold. Emma pressed it against her chest, trying to share warmth. She had seen plenty of injured animals during the years she worked emergency shifts at wildlife clinics, but never something like this. Not a leopard, not a baby, not dumped like trash. As she hurried back to the truck, the cub let out a small, broken cry. That sound stayed lodged in her chest, heavier than the storm pressing in around her. She placed the cub on the passenger seat, cranking the heat all the way up. Its tiny paws twitched weakly, as if even the warmth was too much effort to respond to. Emma grabbed her phone, recording a quick note. She documented every rescue, both for legal records and for the small online community that followed her work. "If you're watching this," she said quietly, "I just found a leopard cub abandoned off Route 87. I don't know if he's going to make it, but I'm taking him home. If you want to follow his journey or support the rescue farm, you can subscribe to Whispering Hearts. Every share helps animals like this little guy get a fighting chance." She set the phone down, throat tight. This wasn't about views or ad revenue, but she'd learned that even one extra supporter could mean the difference between paying for heating lamps or losing another creature to the cold. And tonight, as the snow thickened across the windshield, she'd give anything for a little more help. The cub's breathing hitched sharply. Emma reached over, sliding her coat around him like a makeshift incubator. "Hang on, little one. Just hang on." The drive back to Rocky Ridge Rescue Farm took nearly an hour, though every minute felt like a cliff edge. The storm worsened, visibility dropping to almost nothing. Twice she thought about pulling over, but the cub whimpered, a thin, fading sound, and that kept her foot steady on the gas. She talked to him the whole way, hoping her voice would anchor him. She told him about the warm barn waiting for him, about Daisy, the gentle Great Pyrenees who greeted every injured animal at the gate, and about the safety of her small rescue haven tucked into the pines. And she told him, quietly, about survival, about how even in a world full of cruelty, illegal exotic pet trades, careless owners, people who didn't understand responsibilities or insurance or the cost of proper animal care, there were still corners of kindness, places that fought back. By the time she turned onto the gravel road leading home, the cub had grown frighteningly still. Emma pressed a hand to his chest. The rise and fall was faint, too faint. Fear sliced through her like ice. She drove faster. When the barn lights finally came into view, glowing like a beacon through the storm, Emma whispered, "We made it. Stay with me just a little longer." The cub didn't respond, but Emma wasn't giving up. Not tonight.
Emma pushed through the barn door with the nearly lifeless cub wrapped in her coat, her breath still shaking from the drive. Inside, the warm glow of heat lamps filled the space, bouncing off stacks of hay and wooden stalls converted into makeshift treatment rooms. Daisy, her big white Great Pyrenees, looked up from her corner bed. The dog's ears perked the moment she smelled the cold, wet scent of the tiny creature Emma carried. She trotted over, tail low but wagging gently, sensing urgency before Emma even spoke. "Not now, girl," Emma whispered, nudging Daisy back with her knee. "Let me see what we've got here." Rocky Ridge Rescue Farm wasn't much by city standards, certainly not compared to accredited wildlife centers, but it was everything Emma had left after leaving behind her old life. The barn was old, the heaters temperamental, and funding was always tight. She often joked that the rescue ran on hope, grit, and whatever spare change YouTube ad revenue brought in. But tonight, none of that mattered. Only this cub did. Emma placed the box on the large wooden table in the corner that served as her exam station. She flicked on the overhead lamp, and harsh yellow light spilled across the cub's barely moving sides. A thin rattle echoed with each breath, like air trying to escape a collapsed lung. Emma grabbed towels from the cabinet and wrapped the cub tightly, then reached for her phone. "Milo, I need you," she said when he answered, voice rough from the cold. "Prep Station B. We have a leopard cub in hypothermic shock." Milo burst through the door minutes later, still pulling on his jacket, snow plastered in his hair. "Where on earth did you find—" His words stopped when he saw the cub. "Oh God. That's bad. Real bad." He didn't waste another second. He switched on the radiant heater, set up the portable oxygen unit, and filled a rubber bottle with hot water. Together, they worked silently, their motions practiced but tense. Emma slipped a thermometer under the cub's leg, and when she checked it, her stomach tightened. 82 degrees, she murmured. Normal should have been around 100. This kind of cold stole life quietly. She rubbed warmth into the cub's paws while Milo adjusted the oxygen line. Daisy lay nearby, whining softly, her big eyes locked on the shivering package of spotted fur. Emma glanced over, whispering, "Not yet, sweetheart." But Daisy didn't move. She stayed perfectly still, watching, listening, almost guarding. Emma finally stepped back, wiping sweat from her forehead despite the cold. "We're not out of the woods," she told Milo, "but he's here. That's something." The cub stirred weakly, barely a flutter. Emma leaned close. "You're not alone anymore. Not if I can help it." The barn stayed unnaturally quiet that night, as if even the wind outside knew something fragile was fighting for life. Emma hovered over the heating table, adjusting the cub's position every few minutes so the warmth could seep deeper into its cold, rigid muscles. Milo scribbled notes, documenting time, temperature, medication, every detail they might need to explain to a wildlife vet if the cub made it that far. The oxygen tube hissed a steady rhythm, but the cub's breathing didn't match it. Each inhale was shallow, like a child struggling against pneumonia. Emma touched its chest and felt a vibration she hated, fluid in the lungs. "Respiratory infection," she muttered. "Severe." She cleaned a syringe and slowly introduced warm electrolyte solution along its gums. Most dribbled out. A few drops slid down its throat. It wasn't enough. Milo paced. "If only we had proper wildlife hospital equipment, or staff, or funding." Emma didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the cub. She saw animals slip away before, some beyond saving, some too far gone to fight. But something about this tiny creature abandoned and trembling, lit a fire in her she hadn't felt since leaving her old job in Denver. She whispered, "Come on, baby. You made it through a snowstorm. Don't quit now." When the cub suddenly coughed, a raspy, painful sound, it startled both of them. Emma leaned forward, hand hovering. "That's good," she said softly. "That means he's trying." But soon after, the cub went limp again. Breath slowed. Emma rubbed its chest in tiny circles, praying the stimulation would spark something, anything. A minute passed. 2. Too long. Milo swallowed hard. "Emma, maybe we should prepare for—" "No." Her voice cut the air like a blade. "Not yet." She wrapped the cub tighter, pressing it against her chest, letting her own body heat serve as the last shield between it and death. Daisy approached, sensing the shift in the room. The dog nudged Emma's elbow, sniffing the cub gently. Emma's breath wavered. "I wish warmth was enough," she whispered to Daisy, "but there's only so much we can do without a mother's touch, without someone to hold him like he matters." Daisy lowered her head onto Emma's knee, as if she understood, as if she knew something was missing. The cub twitched faintly, one claw flexing. Emma caught it. "He's still here," she said, voice cracking. "We just need to find what he needs." But she had no idea that the answer was sitting right beside her, covered in white fur, grieving her own losses, and waiting for a chance to love again.
Daisy stayed pressed against Emma's leg for nearly an hour, barely moving except to sniff the cub every so often, her soft nose brushing against the damp towel. Emma tried to focus on the cub's vitals, but her eyes kept drifting to Daisy. Something about the dog's posture tugged at old wounds. "Do you remember last spring?" Emma whispered, stroking Daisy's ear. "You lost all 3 puppies in one night. I thought your heart would break right in front of me." Daisy blinked slowly, her dark eyes sad and heavy. After losing her litter, she had spent weeks searching the barn and pasture for them, carrying toys to empty corners, whimpering whenever Emma tried to comfort her. The grief had softened with time, but Emma never forgot the hollow look Daisy carried for months. Tonight, that look was back. Milo finished setting up the second heating lamp and stepped closer. "She hasn't taken her eyes off him," he murmured, "like she knows something we don't." I sighed. "Or maybe she's remembering?" A gust of wind rattled the shutters, shaking loose a flurry of snowflakes through the cracks. The cub whimpered, a frail, fading sound that made Daisy inch forward again. This time, she nudged the cub more insistently, a low rumble vibrating in her throat. Not a growl, something gentler. Emma raised an eyebrow. "Easy, girl, he's hurt." But Daisy didn't move back. She sat tall, ears forward, eyes locked onto the cub with a strange intensity. It looked like instinct, but softer, protective, maternal. Milo noticed it too. "She's acting like she wants to take over." Emma shook her head. "That's not possible. He's a leopard, Milo. Wild instincts don't just disappear, and she's a dog who's been a mother and who lost her babies." Emma looked at Daisy again. The dog stretched her neck, trying to get closer, her nose brushing the cub's head gently, almost tenderly. The cub didn't react much, but for a split second, Emma saw its tiny body relax against the warmth. A spark. Small, but real. Milo whispered, "Emma, what if Daisy is what he needs?" Emma's breath caught. She wanted to say no. She wanted to say it was impossible, dangerous, irresponsible.
But looking at Daisy, her steady gaze, her patient stillness, the longing buried behind her eyes, Emma realized the idea wasn't as wild as it sounded. Still, fear laced her voice. A leopard cub and a Great Pyrenees? It's not just crazy, it could get her hurt. Yeah, but doing nothing will hurt him for sure. Emma looked down at the cub suffering in her arms, then at Daisy, who hadn't blinked in minutes. And for the first time, Emma wondered if the universe had put two broken hearts in the same barn for a reason. The idea sat in Emma's mind like a spark in dry grass, dangerous, illogical, and impossible to ignore. The cub needed warmth, constant touch, the rhythmic comfort of a heartbeat beside him. No heater could give him that. No syringe, no human hands. Only a mother could. And Daisy had been waiting for something to mother. Emma stood, pacing the barn aisle. If I let her near him and something goes wrong, I'll never forgive myself, she said, voice trembling. He's too fragile, and she's too willing. She won't understand boundaries. Milo leaned against the stall door. I get it, but think about it. He's dying, Emma. We're losing him. And Daisy's the only creature in this barn offering anything he hasn't had in days. Comfort. Another weak cry came from the cub. Daisy pushed forward, tail low, ears pinned back in concern. She nudged Emma's hand, then the cub, then Emma again, as if asking permission. Emma watched her closely. Daisy wasn't excited. She wasn't curious. She was pleading. Fine, Emma whispered, but we do this controlled. She retrieved a soft-lined muzzle, hesitating before slipping it gently over Daisy's snout. The dog didn't resist. Milo set up a portable gate to keep some distance at first. They worked like surgeons preparing for a high-risk procedure. Emma knelt down on the floor, holding Luca carefully as Daisy was led forward. The dog's tail swept the ground softly, her ears tipped forward in deep focus. She leaned close, sniffing the cub with slow, deliberate breaths. No tension in the shoulders, no signs of agitation. Emma whispered, "Easy, girl, easy." Then something extraordinary happened. Daisy lowered herself to the floor, inch by inch, until she lay on her side, exposing her belly, the universal invitation of a mother welcoming her young. She made a low humming sound deep in her chest, the same sound Emma heard her make the night she first delivered her puppies. Luca stirred. His paw twitched. Then, with impossible effort, he pushed his tiny head toward Daisy's warmth. Emma's breath caught. My God. Daisy tucked her legs carefully around him, as if afraid to touch too hard. She moved her muzzle, still covered gently by the soft guard, and touched the cub's forehead with a single, trembling nudge. The cub exhaled, a long, exhausted breath that sounded almost like surrender. But not the surrender of death, the surrender of a child finding something safe. Emma wiped a tear from her cheek. For the first time since she found Luca on the frozen roadside, she felt the weight in her chest lift, just slightly. Maybe this wasn't impossible. Maybe it was the only thing that ever made sense.
Daisy lay completely still, her body curved protectively around the fragile cub as Emma released a slow breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. The barn lights hummed softly overhead, casting a warm halo over the unlikely pair. Luca, still wrapped in the towel, lifted his head a fraction, barely more than a twitch, and blinked weakly toward Daisy. It was the first purposeful movement he had made since she brought him in from the storm. Emma watched as Daisy leaned closer, nudging Luca with a gentleness so precise it felt almost human. A low hum vibrated from Daisy's chest, soothing and rhythmic, something between a mother's reassurance and a lullaby. The cub's breathing, which had been shallow and frantic, slowed just slightly. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make Emma's throat tighten. Milo knelt beside them, whispering, "Look at him. He's responding to her." His voice was hushed, reverent, as if speaking too loudly might break the fragile peace settling over the barn. Emma nodded, eyes fixed on the tiny rise and fall of Luca's ribs. He hasn't reacted to anything like this. Not to heat, not to fluids, not to oxygen, but her. She shook her head, awed and terrified at the same time. He recognizes her warmth, like it's familiar somehow. Daisy shifted, moving her paw just enough to shield Luca from the draft slipping through the cracks on the barn wall. Every movement was slow, controlled, as if she understood exactly how fragile he was. She touched her nose to his ear, letting out a soft whine. Luca answered with a tiny chirp, thin but undeniably intentional. Emma felt something in her chest break open. There it is. That's instinct. That's connection. Milo leaned closer. Are we really watching a dog and a leopard bond? For real? Emma didn't answer. Instead, she carefully removed the soft muzzle from Daisy's snout. Daisy didn't move, except to rest her chin lightly over the edge of the towel, guarding Luca like a treasure she feared losing again. Luca responded by inching toward her body heat, pushing his tiny face against her fur. Emma's voice cracked. It's like he found what he's been searching for. There was no logic here, no science she could fall back on. Just a dying cub leaning into the warmth of a grieving dog, two souls recognizing a need neither could voice. Emma placed a hand over Daisy's shoulder, marveling at the calm strength beneath her fur. All right, we're doing this, together. For the first time since that snowstorm swallowed the highway, Emma felt hope flicker in the darkness. Small, fragile, but alive. Just like Luca now was.
Emma didn't sleep at all that night. She stayed on the floor near Daisy and Luca, wrapped in a blanket, listening to the steady hum of the heater and the soft breaths of the dog acting like a mother again. Daisy barely moved except to adjust her body closer whenever the cub shivered. Even her breathing changed, slower, calmer, purposeful, like she was regulating her warmth for him. By dawn, the barn was filled with a soft golden light spilling through the frosted windows. Emma blinked against the brightness and sat up slowly, her body sore from the cold floor. Her heart lurched when she looked toward the heating pad. Luca wasn't lying limp anymore. He was curled tightly into Daisy's chest, paws tucked beneath him, breathing with steady, though still delicate, rhythm. His eyes weren't open, but his ears twitched at the sound of Emma rising. Tiny signs, but signs of life. "Morning, little one," Emma whispered. Daisy looked up, tail giving a slow thump as if to share the update. He made it through the night. Emma crouched beside them, gently touching Luca's side. It was warm. Not by heaters, not by blankets, but by Daisy's persistent, devoted heat. She swallowed hard. "You're turning him around," she murmured to Daisy. "You really are." Milo stumbled into the barn a few minutes later, hair a mess, still wearing yesterday's clothes. "Any change?" he asked, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Emma pointed. "See for yourself." Milo crouched beside her, his expression softening instantly. "No way. He's comfortable. Like he finally let go of the fight long enough to rest." Emma nodded. "That's the first real rest he's had since I found him." Daisy delicately licked Luca's ear, coaxing a faint chirp from him. The sound was weak, but it wasn't the cry of fear they'd heard last night. It was acknowledgement, response. "Should we try feeding him again?" Milo asked. Emma hesitated. If he's stable enough, yes, but I want Daisy close. For whatever reason, she keeps him calm. She prepared a small syringe of warmed milk replacer and knelt beside them again. This time, when she touched the tip to Luca's mouth, he opened it. Barely, but enough. He swallowed 4 tiny drops, then 6 more. It was more than he had taken in the last 12 hours combined. Milo whispered, "Emma, he's fighting now." Emma's eyes stung. No, he's trusting. That's new. The cub finished a few more sips, then tucked himself back against Daisy's chest. Daisy responded by curling her body tighter around him, resting her chin protectively along his spine. Something had shifted. Something profound. And Emma realized, with certainty, that this was more than survival. This was the beginning of a bond neither nature nor circumstance had any right to create.
Over the next several days, Luca's strength slowly returned, pulled forward by a force Emma still struggled to explain. Daisy became an around-the-clock guardian, barely leaving the cub's side except to drink water or step outside briefly before rushing back to him. It was as if her entire world had narrowed to the small, spotted creature curled against her chest. Emma carefully documented every milestone: improved breathing, better body temperature, small stretches of alertness. But the most astonishing development wasn't in the numbers, it was in their behavior. On the 4th morning, Emma entered the barn to find Luca perched halfway across Daisy's back, his tiny claws gripping her thick fur. Daisy didn't move except to turn her head, allowing him to explore without falling. She even gave him a soft bark, the gentlest encouragement Emma had ever heard. "Well," Milo chuckled from behind her, "looks like he thinks he's a puppy." Emma smiled despite the exhaustion. He's learning how to live from her. What startled Emma most was how clearly Luca mimicked Daisy's cues. When Daisy rose, Luca tried to stand. When Daisy shook her fur out, Luca attempted a clumsy miniature version. When Daisy trotted across the barn, Luca followed in wobbly steps, tripping but determined. But there were other moments, sweet, almost heartbreaking ones, that Emma never expected. Whenever Luca got scared by a sudden noise, he ran, not to a hiding corner, not under a blanket, but straight to Daisy's legs, pressing his face into her fur the way human children hide behind a parent. Daisy would lower her head and hum softly, calming him instantly. Milo recorded clips for their rescue channel, careful not to show anything that might invite criticism. "People won't believe this anyway," he muttered as he edited. "A leopard cub learning comfort from a dog? They'll think it's staged." I sighed. Maybe so, but this isn't for them, it's for him. Because with each passing day, Luca lived a little more, played a little more, learned a little more about safety, comfort, belonging. His ribs were no longer sharp beneath his fur. His eyes were brighter, following movement with clearer focus. But with each gain, Emma's worry grew. Nature wasn't finished with him. Leopards didn't stay small forever. She watched him playfully nip at Daisy's ear and felt the first shadow of fear. For now, though, he was still tiny, still learning, still a cub who believed Daisy was his mother. And Daisy believed it too. The first sign came quietly, not in violence, not in aggression, just in a moment of instinct slipping through the softness Luca had learned from Daisy. Emma was cleaning stalls when she heard Daisy let out a sharp yelp. Her heart leapt into her throat.
She rushed back to the corner where Daisy and Luca usually played, and what she saw made her freeze. Luca, now bigger, stronger, more coordinated, had launched himself onto Daisy's back from a stack of hay bales. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't even rough by wild standards. It was play, leopard play. But his claws, now longer and sharper, dug into Daisy's skin. Daisy didn't snap or growl. She simply backed away, confused, licking her shoulder. Emma rushed forward. "Luca, no, easy." She scooped him up gently, though the cub wriggled with surprising strength. He chirped, tail flicking with excitement, clearly thinking the leap had been a game. Milo appeared, breathless. "What happened?" "He jumped from the hayloft," Emma said, examining Daisy's shoulder. The scratches weren't deep, but they were enough to raise alarm. "He didn't mean harm, but he's growing stronger, faster. His instincts are starting to wake." Milo looked at Luca, whose bright eyes were fixed on the moving broom in Emma's hand like it was prey. "We knew this was coming eventually." "Yes," Emma sighed, "but I hoped we had more time." Daisy nudged Luca again, gently but firmer than usual, as if trying to teach him boundaries. Luca responded with playful snarls, tiny, harmless, but different, wild. Milo lowered his voice. "What do we do when he gets even bigger?" Emma didn't answer. She watched Daisy lick Luca's face tenderly, despite the scratches stinging beneath her fur. Daisy wasn't afraid. She was patient, endlessly patient, the way mothers tolerated a rough child learning their strength. But Emma wasn't naive. She had worked with big cats for years. Leopards grew fast, their muscles developed faster, their instincts sharpened before their judgment. Tonight had been a warning, a small one, but real. Luca leapt again, this time to play with a rope toy, but his movement was unmistakably feline, powerful, natural. Emma felt a chill run through her that the barn heater couldn't touch. Daisy might love Luca like her own, but nature wouldn't pause just because love asked it to.
The video had only been meant for their small group of supporters. Nothing fancy, just a 30-second clip of Daisy nudging Luca into her blanket after a cold morning. But overnight, the clip exploded far beyond their expectations. Millions of views flooded in, and with them came something Emma had never wanted: scrutiny. At first, comments were sweet. People adored the odd little family in the Montana barn. They called Daisy an angel. They called Luca a miracle. But the tone shifted fast when a wildlife activist group reposted a slowed-down moment where Luca pounced a little too hard on Daisy's tail. They framed it as evidence of neglect, claiming Emma was allowing dangerous interspecies interaction and exploiting a big cat for views. It didn't matter that the clip wasn't the full story. By midweek, Emma's email was full of angry messages demanding she surrender the cub. Some accused her of running an illegal exotic pet operation. Others said Daisy was being used for social media engagement. One email went so far as to threaten a lawsuit if she didn't hand Luca over to state authorities. Milo slammed his laptop shut. "This is insane. They don't know what happened here. They didn't watch him almost die in your hands. They didn't see Daisy save him." Emma rubbed her temples, feeling the pressure grow behind her eyes. "They don't want context. They want a villain, and we're the easiest ones to blame." Outside the barn, a pickup rolled into the driveway. 2 state officers stepped out, their jackets marked with Montana Wildlife Enforcement. Daisy barked once, a warning, and moved in front of Luca, who crouched behind her with a confused chirp. Emma placed a hand on Daisy's neck to calm her, though her own pulse hammered. The officers explained their purpose. They had received multiple reports about improper handling of a wild animal. They needed to inspect the cub, evaluate conditions, and determine whether Rocky Ridge Rescue Farm was a suitable environment. Emma cooperated, though every nerve in her body screamed. Luca trembled when they examined him. Daisy growled low, placing herself between the officers and the cub whenever they stepped too close.
After a long inspection, one officer spoke quietly. "You're obviously caring for him, but he's a leopard, and state regulations are strict. We'll need to follow up." Emma watched their truck disappear into the snowy distance, dread curling in her stomach. She turned back to Milo, voice barely above a whisper. "They're coming for him, all because people online think they know better." Daisy pressed her head against Emma's arm. Lucas chirped softly, seeking comfort. And for the first time since the stormy night Emma found him, she felt terrified, not of losing the fight for his life, but of losing him entirely.
The warning signs arrived slowly, scattered across days that already strained under pressure. Luca grew stronger, too strong. His leaps carried more confidence. His teeth, once barely able to grip, now pinched during play. Daisy tolerated everything with endless patience, but Emma saw the tiny flinches, the moments Daisy hid her discomfort to soothe Luca. Then it happened. Emma was cleaning stalls when she heard Daisy let out a sharp cry. She spun to see Luca clamped, playfully, not violently, onto Daisy's foreleg. He didn't understand his strength. Daisy whimpered but didn't pull away, trying not to scare him. Emma rushed in, lifting Luca gently. He chirped, confused, pawing at the air as if asking why the game had stopped. Emma checked Daisy's leg, just scratches, nothing deep. But it was the moment she'd been dreading since the day Daisy first curled around the dying cub. Milo approached, face tight. "It's time, Emma." She swallowed hard. "I know." That evening, Emma prepared a new enclosure for Luca. A secure pen right beside Daisy's sleeping area, close enough for them to see and smell each other, but separated by a sturdy mesh wall. She placed soft blankets inside, toys, a heated mat. It felt wrong, artificial, cold. When Emma carried Luca to the enclosure, he chirped anxiously, looking back toward Daisy. When she set him down, he tried to climb the mesh immediately, paws gripping the bars as he cried out in distress. Daisy pressed her nose against the other side, whining, pawing the floor, desperate to reach him. Emma wiped her tears from her face as she locked the enclosure door. "It's for your safety," she whispered. "Both of you." The barn changed that night. The air felt heavier, the silence painful. Luca paced his pen relentlessly, chirping, climbing, pawing, calling for the warmth he'd known since the night he should have died. Daisy sat by the mesh, refusing to sleep, giving soft, almost mournful rumbles to every cry. Milo watched from the loft, his voice low. "They don't understand why this is happening." "No," Emma whispered, "and that's the hardest part." Near midnight, Luca grew exhausted. His chirps softened into tiny whimpers. Daisy lay as close as possible, her nose pressed through the mesh, trying to give comfort any way she could. Luca curled against the metal barrier, trying to curl into her warmth. Emma sat on the barn floor, head in her hands. She had saved his life. Daisy had saved his spirit, but tonight she felt like she was breaking both of their hearts.
The next morning brought no relief. Luca refused to eat his early meal. Even when Milo offered his favorite formula, the cub nudged it away, chirping softly as he stared at Daisy through the mesh. Daisy stayed in place, tail sweeping the floor, ears drooping. Emma couldn't bear it. She stepped outside into the cold mountain air, trying to clear her thoughts. The sky was gray, snow threatening again. She checked her voicemail. 3 new messages from activists, another from the state office, one from someone wanting to adopt the cub, and one particularly nasty caller blaming her for animal endangerment. She nearly deleted all of them without listening. Then a calm, steady voice came through. A woman introducing herself as Dr. Natalie Coleman from the Oregon Big Cat Sanctuary. "Miss Clark," the message said, "I've been following your recent situation with the leopard cub. I believe we can help." Emma froze. She replayed the message twice, then hurried inside. 2 hours later, they're on a video call. Dr. Coleman, a middle-aged woman with warm eyes and a practical tone, explained that her sanctuary specialized in rescued exotic cats that could never return to the wild. She had heard about the viral video, the attacks from activists, and the involvement of Montana Wildlife Enforcement. "We know this pattern well," she said. "Internet attention creates pressure. Pressure creates policy. The cub will be removed eventually. It's better to plan a transition on your terms than to fight a losing battle." Emma felt hit by truth, sharp and painful. "But he has a bond with Daisy, a bond I've never seen between species." Dr. Coleman folded her hands. "I've seen the clips. I've also seen Daisy's reaction during the separation. Your dog is grieving again, and the cub is imprinting on her. That's powerful, but dangerous long-term." Emma swallowed. "So you're saying he needs to go?" "I'm saying," Dr. Coleman clarified gently, "that he needs a permanent home equipped for big cats. But we are willing to make adjustments if you agree to transfer him." Emma blinked. "Adjustments?" "We'll take Daisy too, at least for the transition phase. We'll build 2 connected enclosures where they can maintain visual and vocal contact safely. Luca will grow in a proper big cat habitat, and Daisy will live right next door." Emma stared at the screen. Hope, cautious, fragile, blossomed unexpectedly. "You'd really do that? For them?" "For animals with a bond like this, we do what is necessary," Dr. Coleman said. Emma covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Milo squeezed her shoulder. They finally had a solution. Painful, yes, but real, and full of possibility.
The morning they left, the snow had settled thick across the mountain roads, turning the landscape into a quiet expanse of white. Emma loaded Daisy into her truck, while a specialized transport team secured Luca in a temperature-controlled carrier designed for big cats. Luca sniffed the air anxiously, chirping louder the farther Daisy moved from him. "It's all right, little man," Emma murmured, touching the metal bars. "We're not leaving you, we're going together." Daisy paced inside the truck cab, nose pressed to the back window as Luca's carrier was lifted into the transport van behind them. She whined, pawing at the glass whenever he chirped. The 2 vehicles started down the long road toward Oregon, Emma driving the truck, the transport van following close behind. The first hour was rough. Every time the truck turned, Daisy cried. Every time she cried, Luca answered from behind them, the sound sharp and frightened. Emma played soft classical music on the radio, hoping to soothe them both, though her own throat tightened with worry. Milo drove behind the transport, recording parts of the journey for Whispering Hearts. "People need to see the truth," he said into the camera. "Not the drama, not the accusations, just the bond between 2 souls who healed each other." Halfway down the mountain, they stopped at a scenic overlook to rest. Snowflakes drifted softly as Emma opened Daisy's door. The dog leaped out and ran straight to Luca's carrier in the van, pressing her nose through the small air grates. Luca scrambled inside his crate, chirping desperately until he touched her muzzle through the metal. Emma felt tears prick her eyes again. This is breaking them. But Dr. Coleman had been right. The only way forward was through. Back on the road, dusk settled in, casting long shadows across the forest. The convoy pressed ahead, headlights cutting through mist and falling snow. Eventually, Luca quieted. The rhythmic hum of the engine lulled him into a restless sleep. Daisy curled on the truck seat, eyes half closed, still facing the window where she last saw the van. As they crossed the Oregon border well past midnight, Emma reached over and stroked Daisy's head. "Almost there, sweetheart, just a little longer." Daisy sighed, settling her chin on Emma's lap. Outside, the forest thickened, and lights from the sanctuary's main gate glowed faintly in the distance. After months of fear, hope, loss, and miracles, they were finally arriving at the place that might allow all three of them to breathe again. The Oregon Big Cat Sanctuary sat quietly under the early morning mist, a stretch of forest and rolling hills surrounded by tall fencing that shimmered with frost. As Emma pulled into the drive, Daisy lifted her head and pressed her nose to the window, her tail sweeping hesitantly. Behind them, the transport van braked to a gentle stop. Luca chirped from inside, the muffled sound immediate and distressed. He knew Daisy was near. He knew, too, that he was somewhere unfamiliar. Emma stepped out, her boots crunching through gravel. Dr. Nathalie Coleman walked toward them from the main building, bundled in a heavy coat, her smile both warm and steady. "Long drive," she said softly. "Let's get them settled." Luca's carrier was carried through a secured gate into the juvenile enclosure, a sprawling area with climbing posts, heated dens, and shaded platforms built for growing big cats. But as soon as the door of the carrier cracked open, Luca backed into the corner, his tiny body trembling. The world outside was too big, too strange, too far from the small barn where he'd known warmth. "Easy, sweetheart," Emma whispered, kneeling beside the crate. "You're safe. You're still with us." Daisy barked from her own enclosure next door, a soft rhythmic sound. Luca chirped back, and something shifted. He inched forward, pressing his face through the crate door to catch sight of her. Daisy wagged her tail, lowering her head as close to the connecting fence as she could. "Let's give him a moment," Dr. Coleman advised gently. When Luca finally crept out, his paws touched the grass tentatively, like stepping onto another planet. He scanned the space with wide eyes, ears twitching with every sound. Then he rushed straight to the fence dividing his enclosure from Daisy's, chirping frantically. Daisy was already there, pressing her muzzle against the mesh so he could touch her. He pushed his entire body against the metal, desperate for the closeness that had comforted him all his life. Daisy answered with a deep, gentle rumble. Milo wiped his eyes. "They're going to be okay," he said softly. Emma nodded, though a tear slipped down her cheek. "They're learning a new kind of together." Dr. Coleman watched them with a mixture of awe and scientific curiosity. "I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've never seen interspecies communication like this. Look at their posture, mirroring, syncing. It's remarkable." Luca paced along the fence, and Daisy matched his steps, side by side, separated by metal but united in movement. When Luca lay down, Daisy immediately lowered herself on her side, positioning her body in perfect alignment with his, only the fence between them. The sanctuary staff gathered quietly, touched by the sight. No one spoke for several minutes. The world had told them they shouldn't know each other, that instinct should divide them, that nature should forbid this bond. But as the morning sun broke through the clouds, warming the frost on the ground, one truth stood stronger than any rule written in biology. They still chose each other. And nothing, not fences, not distance, not fear, could change that.
Weeks passed, turning into months, and the sanctuary became a place of steady rhythm. Luca grew rapidly, longer legs, stronger muscles, sharper senses, but his personality carried a softness that baffled even the sanctuary's senior keepers. He stalked rubber toys with careful precision, but after each mock pounce, he turned to the fence to glance at Daisy, as if seeking approval. Daisy answered every look with a gentle bark or a low maternal rumble. Emma visited as often as she could.
Each trip brought new surprises. One afternoon, she found Luca climbing a tall tree stump, showing off his growing agility. At the top, he paused, scanned the area, then spotted Daisy below. With a chirping call, he bounced down the stump and rushed to the fence, inviting her to share his triumph. "He's developing beautifully," Dr. Coleman said, watching with folded arms. "Strong, confident, but incredibly stable. That's not normal for a big cat raised without its own kind. He has her to thank for that." Emma smiled softly. She gave him a foundation, something solid to grow from. "And she benefited too," Dr. Coleman added. "Her anxiety has decreased. Her routine is healthier. It's rare to see a dog thrive in a sanctuary environment, but she's flourishing." Daisy proved it moments later when a sudden loud clang startled a nearby volunteer. Luca jerked upright, but instead of panicking, he watched Daisy. Daisy remained steady, tail relaxed. Luca mimicked her posture exactly, calming within seconds. "That," Dr. Coleman said, pointing, "is emotional co-regulation. Big cats don't usually look for reassurance from other species. He learned that from her." The sanctuary soon used their story in educational programs about exotic pet trafficking. Videos of Luca and Daisy, carefully curated, responsibly presented, taught people about illegal ownership, animal imprinting, and the power of compassion. Luca became a symbol of hope. Daisy became a symbol of healing. But the most astonishing transformation wasn't physical or behavioral. It was relational. Luca, now nearly the size of an adult dog, still greeted Daisy every morning with a ritual they had invented between themselves. Daisy would approach the fence first, giving 3 soft barks spaced evenly apart. Luca would answer with 2 chirps, then rub his side along the fence, purring, a deep, resonant sound that vibrated through the metal. Daisy wagged her tail in rhythm, creating a strangely musical moment that melted anyone who witnessed it. "They're still mother and son," Emma once said, her voice thick with emotion. Dr. Coleman nodded. "They're family, just a different kind." And as Luca continued to grow into a magnificent young leopard with sleek muscles and golden eyes, Daisy stayed right by his side of the fence, watching over him with the same unwavering devotion she had shown since the night he nearly died in the snow. This bond had rewritten their lives. It had rewritten everyone's expectations. It had rewritten nature itself. It was a quiet evening, the kind where the sanctuary settled into a peaceful hush and the world beyond the forest felt impossibly distant. Emma stood by the main walkway, watching the sun sink behind the tree line, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Milo filmed the enclosure for their next Whispering Hearts update, capturing the calm unfolding between Daisy and Luca. The pair were in their usual place, right up against the fence, pressed as close as the metal would allow. Luca, now nearly full-grown, stretched lazily, his long tail curling around Daisy's paws on the other side. Daisy nudged the metal gently, her warm breath fogging the surface. Luca leaned his forehead against it, eyes half closed. Emma stepped closer, her heart swelling at the sight. "They still breathe together," she whispered, "just like that first night." Dr. Coleman approached quietly. "It's rare," she said. "You don't see bonds like this in textbooks or research papers. This is why we keep doing this work." As the last light of day faded, Luca rolled onto his side, pressing his massive shoulder along the entire length of the fence. Daisy immediately adjusted her position, mirroring him. Their breathing synced, slow, deep, steady. The fence wasn't a barrier. It was a seam holding two worlds together. Emma knelt near them. "Luca," she whispered, her hand resting on the metal. "You grew into everything you were meant to be." Luca's golden eyes opened, soft and peaceful. He chirped once, a sound no longer of fear or need, but of recognition. Daisy gave a gentle bark in response, tail tapping the ground. A mother's answer. Milo lowered his camera, swallowing hard. How does something like this even happen? Emma smiled, eyes damp. Maybe love doesn't care about species, or fences, or rules. Maybe it just finds a way. Dr. Coleman nodded. He'll live a full, safe, meaningful life here, and she'll be part of it, always. A breeze rustled through the pines overhead, carrying the faintest echo of the winter storm that had started their journey. But now, instead of fear, the air held warmth, peace, belonging. Luca shifted once more, pressing closer. Daisy leaned in until her fur brushed the fence, her eyes soft, steady, full of something deeper than instinct. Emma whispered the truth that had carried them through every impossible moment. A mother isn't defined by blood. She's defined by the love she gives. And this boy, he was never abandoned. Not really. He just hadn't found her yet. The stars emerged above them, quiet witnesses to a bond that had defied nature itself. And beneath their light, a leopard and a dog rested together. Two souls forever linked, two hearts beating in harmony, a mother and her son.